Hi there, I'm Starbeastrave, Prince of Eternia, and we're here to do a brand new podcast for you to be bored with. And I'm not alone. As usual, I have my two other people with me. This one is like 77777777. Okay.
Howdy.
And we actually have a newcomer with us today, Frank Todaro. You might know him as...
Frank Todaro. That's my, That is me. I am me. I am unashamed of
My goodness. Well, at least he flat out said it. That's a good thing.
Yes, indeed. We are very happy to have him on board with us tonight.
You might know him from such awesome performances as Starscreamy from
My Little Pony Cybertron is Magic.
That's right. From My Little Pony Cybertron is War. Yes, correct. And other such things. Yes, like the rest of us, Frank is a voice actor, and he does all sorts of voice things that everyone enjoys, because that is what he does.
In all seriousness, you might have heard him as Starscream for real in the Titans Return, and what was the last one, Frank?
Titans Return is the one that's on right now.
Combiner Wars.
Oh yeah, I wasn't...
Wars, but it's all part of the
audience,
Prime
I wasn't
Wars
kidding about
trilogy.
Starscream. He actually does play the character. He is the current Starscream in the Transformers franchise, and so everybody clap. Just clap at it. Everybody clap. Clap at Frank.
Clapping. I am clapping.
Clap. There. Okay.
Yes.
So
he also plays a few characters for us in DC Abridged. Mostly Roy. Well, all the Roys. There's a few of them. And he recently played Johnny. Johnny Quick.
They don't know who Johnny is yet. You fuff. Stop blowing the secrets.
No. It was in the trailer. It was
Well,
in the
I'm
trailer.
Johnny.
It's fine. We can talk about it. Shut up. And in fact, they'll be seeing it very soon. So I think by the time this comes out, if it hasn't come out already, it'll be just about.
If you don't blow all our secrets first, you fuff.
Anyway, we're very delighted to have Frank on board with us. I've been trying to get him forever, so this is, quite a momentum.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
Glad to be here, guys.
And you might be wondering what was up with that incredibly dumb He-Man and the Masters of the Universe parody I just did a couple seconds ago. Well, that's because Frank brought to our attention not too long ago, a mere few minutes really, that apparently Masters of the Universe is getting a reboot.
That is that's the rumor, yeah.
You want to fill us in on that one? Because I'll be honest, this is the first time hearing of it, so you need to fill me in.
Well, it's been in kind of like production limbo forever. There were rumors going all over the place from house to house, which had the rights, and I think the rights, this is all kind of conjecture. But last I heard that they bounced back to Mattel in a little while, so it's Sony that's trying to kind of pump out that Masters of the
Sony
Universe
is like
Sony
is like
likes to do
the last
movies.
person to the party. They're like trying so hard right now.
Or the first person to the party. I don't see anybody else wanting to make a Smurfs movie. Come on. Seriously.
I wouldn't give them credit for that, but that's me.
The bones are
well,
there.
you have to, because they did make, 3 Smurfs movies now, I think, and for some reason they keep trying to resurrect everything the 80s made cool.
Aren't they the ones who were making the Squeakquels too? I forget.
I don't know if the Sony is responsible for those abominations.
If they made Smurf, Smurfs and the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies were practically the same.
I actually don't know who made the Chipmunks movies. I don't think it was Sony, but I'd have to look it up. All I know is that they're responsible for Hank Azaria's Gargamel, and that's more than enough for me to hate them.
I've not seen any of the Smurf live action films.
Well, you're a blessed man.
Can't contribute to that. The Alvin
Oh,
Chipmunks
that
was
makes
20th
sense then,
Century
doesn't
Fox.
it? Yeah, that's
So
great.
that was a
Fox
Fox
Fox. I guess you could
and
say
the
that the Fox
Squeakquels.
ate some bad chipmunks and then vomited them out 3 times.
Well, you know what? Now it's Disney's fault because they just bought Fox. Last I heard that deal went through. I'm not sure
yet. Everything is Disney's
but...
fault.
Oh yeah, no,
is that for
happening.
real? Is that like signed, sealed, delivered? Because every single website, it's like the International Business Times of India or another country.
I've heard many.
I haven't seen Variety
reports,
News
but
reporting
most
this.
of them are seeing is that it's practically a done deal. So Disney gets even bigger.
What, like what? Ink on the paper done, or just we're thinking this might happen done?
Supposedly it's done. They just haven't announced it officially yet, but they're waiting for the next big press release thing. But like
that's
from
wonderful.
the insiders are saying that it's a done deal, and Disney now wants Fox, which means Marvel now wants the Fantastic Four and the X-Men again. I don't know what's going to happen with those movies. We'll find out as we go.
You know, I like Disney as yeah.
So
ahead.
I got a question for you guys. So, say this is a done deal. Say Wolverine is finally going to be able to interact with the Avengers and Spider-Man and what I think would be pretty amazing is Punisher himself. Would you want Hugh Jackman, who's I mean, Logan was honestly one of the best movies.
That's
I
the
agree.
common.
I agree.
That's the common consensus.
Western.
Yes.
It was a superhero movie. Would you want that to be his finale, or do you want a new person playing Wolverine as a new character?
Well,
whatever
here's
they're
the
gonna call
thing.
them, mutants.
Oh, I would
There's-
definitely want
humans,
someone else
whatever.
play. I mean, for whatever reason, I want someone else other than Jackman to play Wolverine. Not because I don't like Jackman, but because he's been doing the damn thing for almost 20 years. So I think someone else could give a try. You know, just for the sake of variety, I would want a different Wolverine. But you know, with the same attitude.
Yeah, I would say it depends on a few things. I mean, Jackman said he was done with the role, but he did publicly say the only thing that would ever get him back into the claws was if he could do a movie in the Disney universe, you know, with Robert Downey Jr. and all that stuff.
That is right.
And I
That
do
seems
believe
to be a
actually they
possibility.
interviewed him about it. If the Disney deal happens, would you be willing to reprise Logan? Which he said maybe, and I'm like, well, maybe he'll want to do that, and maybe Disney will be like, well, we want Hugh Jackman in there, but. I'm with Paul in this one. I think, you know, he bowed out in such a high note. You know, it's
Yeah, and why?
and after playing
you know,
it for so long,
why would you jeopardize such a perfect note? It was dark, it was sad, and it was conclusive. It was nice.
If you don't include Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the Marvel Universe,
Yeah.
that's sort of setting a precedent. Because now you have to get a
Oh,
new
that's-
Professor X.
Frank,
very
that's
true.
going to
Because-
happen one way or another. I mean, the
Yeah.
actors
Because
they have. Hugh Jackman is one thing because he's been the face of the franchise for 20 years, but
Well, though, if they can change the Hulk 3 times and still come out with a really big winner that everybody loves, they can do the same with Wolverine.
This is true.
I think, you know, like even in the Marvel Disney universe, you know, it's the old guard, you know, that have been doing this for 10 years are about to retire. We all know Robert Downey Jr. isn't making another Iron Man after Avengers 4.
No,
Or
Downey
Chris-
Robbie Jr. is done with all that nonsense.
Yeah,
for
Chris
now.
Evans has said several times that he was done after the current contract expires after those movies.
Well, yeah, he wants to get to not another teen movie too. Uh-oh.
No, he wants to be a director, which I can respect that. You know, he's done the
I mean, honestly, I have no idea if he'd be good or not. I've never seen him direct before. For all I know, he could be great, but I don't
he's
know
done
why.
one or
Just the
two
thought
movies,
of, just
but you know,
the
he's
thought
been trapped in
of
the Captain America thing for so long.
just
that...
the thought of him starting a directing career. It's hey, for all I know, he could be great, but I don't know. It's just Captain America directing a movie. I don't know.
That is actually the perfect segue to go back to Masters of the
So
Universe.
Captain America
Because
is going to be
the rumored
directing Masters of the
director
Universe?
for
I'm
that.
psyched!
No, he's actually playing Tila. It's
What?
crazy. I mean, the guy's got some
He's
range.
going to be
I'm telling you.
playing... My God, is there anything that man can't do?
But David Goyer, the writer, I mean, mostly known for his writing. He did direct.
Yeah, we don't talk
Oh,
about
that one of the
a couple
biggest
other films.
controversial productions ever.
Eh,
No, he wrote and directed Blade Trinity.
Well, directed...
yeah. So he's rumored now to be directing this new Masters
Interesting.
of the Universe movie, which is both exciting and like I'm not
Well,
sure
for
how
the-
I feel. About it.
Here's the thing.
I mean,
What
for,
do you
for
think?
any,
I mean,
for any,
writing-wise, he's done
Here's
some
the thing
pretty
about
good
Goyer.
stuff.
I don't think
and
he's a
some
bad
pretty
writer, but I don't also wouldn't. I don't know if I would call him a great writer. He's an idea man. You know, like when they did the Dark Knight trilogy, the Nolan brothers wrote those movies. He was basically there as a glorified comic book guy. No, he co-wrote
No, I
them.
thought he wrote
I'm sure he
those.
contributed.
That
I
was
mean,
the
how
Nolan
much
brothers?
is up? Nobody will ever know. I'm guessing, but it's you can tell that he was there only to be like, so like Goyer. Is this like Batman would do this? Is this like a thing? I don't know, like because you know the Nolan brothers didn't know squat about comic books or Batman. They just wanted to make a cool action movie, and they needed a guy who understood the mythology, and that makes sense. That's how it should be. But like when you see Goyer work on his own, you get things like Blade Trinity. I mean, he's not awful. But, I mean, I don't know. It's like...
He did write one of my favorite movies, though. Dark City was one of,
Really?
hands down, my favorite films. and I'm pretty sure that was him. I remember when The Matrix came out, I loved it. I'm like, this was better when it was Dark City. I was like one of those kids. Which I love The Matrix. I love The Matrix films.
They're really I mean, even if you don't like them being philosophical and crap, you have to enjoy them for what they are. They're pretty good.
And I think, I mean, I could be mistaken. Somebody fact check me, but I think he wrote the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury TV movie, which I own on VHS somewhere.
I'm seeing his filmography right
now.
I'm not seeing the Nick Fury one, but he did write Dark City. You're right. Oh wait, no. Oh my God, you're right. He wrote both of them. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Is that the 1998 TV movie?
The Hasselhoff Nick Fury. Yeah.
With the Hoff's first Marvel. Like that's why when he came in the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 over the credits, I was hoping that he'd get an eye patch at some point. But I guess there's a little bit of crossing the streams there. But I don't know. I mean, it could be a good choice. It's definitely a darker.
Well, it has to be nowadays.
He wrote.
Everything has to be darker and grittier these days.
Yeah.
You know that.
I mean, if you want to see like for example, like in the Dark Knight movies, he co-wrote them with the Nolan brothers, which I still maintain wrote most of it. He wrote Man of Steel on his own. That's all him.
I mean, if we're talking about this new dark gritty remake, I mean, come on. There's only one thing I think everybody needs to know. Who is playing Skeletor? I think that's the only question on anybody's mind. Who is playing Skeletor?
Sadly, they'll probably give him a very deep, scary voice instead of like the classic.
No! You must give him this voice. It's the only way. If they don't, I'm going to be pissed. They better make him sound like that.
I'd love to throw my cloak into the ring.
I told you, little yuppie spawn, to leave him. I'm Skeletor.
I love it. Man, it's but I mean, they could put the name He-Man on the side of a box of like old crumpled up newspapers and He-Man Wheaties. But I just don't want a sepia Skeletor, Like I don't want that I want to see those bright magenta purple light blue. I want Faker, I want like those weird day-glow monster, because the whole thing is like a Frazetta painting. Like when you actually go back and look at Masters of the Universe, it's sword and sorcery and sci-fi mixed together in a way that we didn't really have in our cultural vernacular at the time for kids. No one was playing. There was no Final Fantasy. That wasn't
around until later,
there was Star Wars, and there was.
Well, the 80s, I mean, that was the 80s in a nutshell. Combining science with sorcery in a really cheesy but fun way. That was just the 80s. That's how they did it.
It definitely has the bones to be a franchise that can work if they do it right. And I hope they don't just crank it out for the rights, that they really try to take their time, do it well. And if it's Goyer, awesome. Just like, I want him to love it before he makes it. I want the passion behind it. I want the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I stand by that the only good adaptations of anything are done by fans of it. I mean, if you don't love it, how's it going to come out good?
Yeah, that would. I hadn't thought about it, but since we're on the subject and you mentioned it, Sam Raimi would be my choice to direct that movie.
What, Masters of the Universe?
Yeah,
really?
I feel like he would get
that?
it. I mean, look at it like the Evil Dead movies, and like you said, like the quality of mixing horror with silly, But
Sam Raimi has done comic book stuff, and I guess you can equate He-Man to that kind of formula. But
I was saying it would be a good fit.
There's no horror element to it. What's up?
Guys, Bruce Campbell as Skeletor and Ted Raimi as Orko. You just freaking nailed it, man. Yeah. That is amazing. I want that movie. I want that movie now. That chin.
Bruce Campbell for Man-at-Arms, but yeah, I can see him as He-Man too.
Just imagine like the skull, but the chin is like 3 feet long. Oh my God, that's perfect.
Well, that's just what we call Skeletor.
Where do we go to sign those crazy internet petitions for movies?
Well, you have to make them. You'd have to make your own online petition. You'd have to call it Bruce Campbell's He-Man Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, with Sam Raimi.
In fact, just have him play all of the characters.
You know what?
Just
that's a good idea.
He-Man too.
Bruce Campbell as everybody. He can do what Eddie Murphy used to do and be everyone in the cast. Including Orko, Man-at-Arms, his made-up daughter, I think, Woman-at-Arms. And I'm just kidding. And then, he could be the queen and the king, of course. Oh, maybe he could be that talking horse that She-Ra had that sounded like he sounded like, good lord, he used to sound like this, She-Ra. He could be everybody.
I'm for all of that. I want all of that.
And he could be She-Ra,
I will say, whoever does direct this, realistically, all I ask, just keep, like you were saying, Frank, keep the look. Don't just make Skeletor this demonic, I talk like this, and like he's wearing dark robes, and He-Man is dressed in like whatever passes for fashion nowadays. Don't modernize it. Just keep the leotard and the boots and the nakedness.
They'll probably do what they did to Conan. Remember that Conan remake they made a while ago? I get the feeling they'll probably go for something like that, dark and serious and never getting the joke, and oh, look at me, I've got pecs. Yeah.
Well, at least that looked like Conan.
But people forget that the 80s had a really, really good sense of humor. And if you want to please people who are obsessed with the Marvel crowd and the Star Wars crowd, and you're going to remake an 80s product, you need to keep that good sense of humor.
I just rewatched, we were just talking about it before, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. There were parts where I was tearing up just because of there's nothing to be nostalgic about from the characters, because the characters were, well, first of all, the ones that did exist
plus,
were very different.
Not too many people knew what Guardians was yet.
But the feel...
I said, and not too many people knew what Guardians was until those movie came out. It was kind of an obscure thing for a while.
Oh yeah,
I had barely heard of them.
But the feel of like, there's the humor combined with the action
and the music,
with just the visuals and stuff.
It beautiful.
Felt like going home again. It felt.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It was phenomenal. That's how I feel about the Orville too. The Orville is a fantastic show, but it's like I'm in the late '80s, early 90s.
You can give Seth MacFarlane is. I have mixed feelings about Seth MacFarlane, but I will give him this. The Orville it gets what Star Trek was.
Well, that's not a surprise. MacFarlane was obsessed with Star Trek, and again, like I said, a fan makes a good project of a remake because he knows what would go into it because he loved it. So
but it's funny because right now we have two Star Trek shows at the same time. One that is actually Star Trek, and it's more like in the J.J. Abrams movie style, which is not a bad thing.
It's not bad, but people are very split about that. There's a lot of people that don't like the J.J. Abrams verse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only dislike the second movie. The first one was really good. The third one was a little more passive, but I still liked it. It's different.
I didn't like 2 or 3. Honestly, I only liked the first one. Didn't like 2 or 3.
I gotta say, the third is by far my favorite.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
And I'm an old Trekkie guy. And, like, watching everyone... There's just this one scene in that third movie where everyone is giving Kirk suggestions based on their expertise. And he looks at them, and he puts his finger to the side of his face, and he's thinking. And then once he digests everything, he's like, all right, Bones, you do this, you do that, you do that. And he does these divvying out commands. And I was like, holy crap, that is Star Trek. I'm back.
I agree that...
Oh, right,
well, because that was the formula. And, everybody talks to Kirk, tries to figure something out, and then he just does his thing.
I do agree with Frank that the third movie was definitely the most Trekkie one. The first two were more Hollywood, more JJ, explosions and, that kind of thing, which was cool. Like I said, it worked for what they were doing. But I agree that the third one was definitely the more reminiscent of the old school.
It's all about likable characters and
optimism. Don't forget optimism.
And a genuinely interesting story. Not just optimism. Space things are happening, but connecting it to something that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And, it's okay that not everybody has to be white.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, that's pretty damn awesome. With the Orville is like, oh, my God. The progressive elements of the Orville are not under the microscope. There's no magnifying glass. It's just... This is the way things are. Let's move on and talk about the actual story. And these are just other characters that are the same as the other characters in the story.
And that's how you normalize progression like that. That's how you normalize change. You don't talk about it. You don't make a big deal out of it. You don't even really reference it. You just do it. You just put them in this position, and just like it's not weird. It's not different. It's just normal. Don't even bring attention to it. Just show it as is, and just say, "Hey,
when the first Star Trek came out, it's like we have a black telecommunications. What was her position, or who was?
No, she was. Yeah, she was the
communications.
Yeah, she was the communications.
You have an ancient pilot. You have and so on, and then they were like, "Oh, let's stop and talk about." No. They just went with it, and and the guy, and the woman, they knew their place. They knew what their job was, and they did it perfectly. And they was just you just went with it. Yeah, you just went with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The only time they ever even brought up where these people's origins were was Chekhov, when the jokes they would make. This
Chekhov's origin,
Scotch was originally
when
from
the time
Russia.
they did it. This was either before or during the Cold War. So this, in a time when everything was very anti-red, anti-Russian. These people. Let's put a good Russian in there and show that it's not a hive. There are individuals. And this guy, he represents a good Russian.
And he was supposed to be like a Davy Jones British model before they actually kind of solidified that and said, you know what, the space race is going on. Let's kind of
instead of just
little bit.
It would have been so much easier to just have a Russian bad guy. Yeah, we're going to dominate the capitalism or something like that.
Oh, don't worry. You'll get plenty more Russian bad guys in the 90s. There were no shortage of them.
But yeah, and the time. Maybe today is only the worst time since the Cold War with the Russians. But at the time it was bad. And the people making the show, they say we're going to put one there and we're going to make a good guy. Even though that was probably very unpopular at the time.
Well, plus, young man, stalwart on a ship. Of course, they're going to make him a little bit dorky.
It was positive, it was still good. Yeah. Yeah. And same thing, but with the second movie, it was very unpopular because Khan Noonien. What was his name? Khan
Noonien Singh.
Khan Noonien Singh. Thank you. I never get it right.
Khan Noonien Singh,
also known as Ricardo Montalban.
Oh God, I love it.
Which is totally real.
Okay, I will say this: Wrath of Khan is still the best Star Trek movie, and it's one of my favorite movies. Period. I love that movie.
I'm not discounting that. That one bit. I watched Wrath of Khan before knowing anything about Star Trek, and I enjoyed it fully. Yeah, that's the beauty of that movie.
You can just watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really. I want to hear more about that, man, because that's it. Mm-hmm. It is a movie that stands on its own. But what was that like watching that?
Well, that's the thing. Wrath of Khan was my first Star Trek experience. Not only did it make me want to watch the other movies, which I then did, but I didn't need to know anything about it to follow the story because they explained it very well. Obviously you have to know a few things to get what's going on, like the fact that they had a history, but they talk about that. And they don't say a lot, but what they do say comes across very well. Khan and Kirk had a problem in the past. Khan was a bit of a mutineer. He tried to take over. He tried to do a bunch of crap. And then, they banished him to the island of the exploding sun, hereto known as Planet X. And then, but Khan is a super genius, so he led his people to some kind of prosperity. And now he wants Revengers because abandonment issues and such. It was easy to follow.
It's a story of revenge, and it's done so well. It is.
The whole movie is themed with Moby Dick. Khan basically quotes it through the whole movie, and that was beautiful. It was beautifully written. It made me want to watch more Trek, and I hadn't seen any Trek.
And even if you've never seen the original series, it establishes Kirk and Spock's deep bond, in that one movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, dude, the ending. My God, that ending was just... I think that started the bromance. The fact
the bromance was way before, but that's kind of my point. Even if you haven't seen the series to build the bromance between them, this movie builds it up and just sells you on it. Yeah.
But I love movies where, they're based on big stories that it's better if you know them, but it's a movie. I didn't need to know anything about it to follow it, and I wanted to know more after because it was that well done, and it was a sequel, no less.
Yeah, we don't. The first one's not the most popular one.
The first one sucked. I hated that one. I'm glad I didn't start with it.
It has its merits. It has its merits. But the second one, when you just deconstruct that movie, it's about aging. It's about dealing with getting older. It's about dealing with the idea of death. It is that way just on the surface. Kirk's never dealt with a no-win scenario. He doesn't believe in the no-win scenario,
Which is inspiring. I love the fact that this guy doesn't take a loss. He finds some way to win, even if it's, it's not good.
It takes a cost. There's a cost to that victory. Spock's life.
Yeah. How did Bones say it? You took death and you turned it into a fighting chance to live, or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Dead Sip. I love it. It was truly the best of times. And again, likable characters.
Oh,
but
yeah.
likable bad guy. Like
Montalban
the
oozes
idea
charm,
of a likable
man.
bad guy, especially. Oh, it's great. I mean, people love Loki in the Avengers movies and stuff.
Yeah,
that's nothing new.
And
you actually go back and
I wish Loki was half as
apart
good
like
as
well,
Khan.
people liked Loki for different reasons. Loki's the kind of pet me type, you know. Khan is the kind of guy you'd follow because A, you don't want to mess with him, and B, he sounds like he knows what he's doing. So yes, sir, Mr. Plastic Chest Man.
Yeah, Ken is scary. He's intimidating, but at the same time, he's charming. He's intelligent. He's capable. You know, and you see he cares. He has redeeming quality. He cares about his people. He's not just going to dominate the world. He wants to do what's best for his own kind.
He's got his wife.
Well,
yeah, exactly. I love that.
That is the most beautiful part. When he lifts up with one arm and he lifts up Chekhov and pulls him close, and goes,
or when he thinks he's beaten Kirk and he's even, like buried alive. Oh man.
Yeah. And that's it. When you've got your stuff so together that you don't even need to intimidate. You
even
just
when he
there
knows.
like,
When
meanwhile,
he knows
Loki is like, Daddy, they love me. I'm gonna take over the world.
Tell me.
I have my ups and downs with Loki, but for the most part, I've never really liked him. I mean, the Avengers was, I think, where he was at his best, but even then.
I liked him.
I just don't like his motivations. You're the Prince of Asgard. Every movie tells you they love you, but you're like, no, I'm the victim of what?
His motivation is,
I really.
His motivation is, I'm a pretentious little twerp, and I want you to love me.
They do. They keep saying it.
I don't believe you. I'm going to go sit next to Jeff Goldblum. He'll tell me I'm special. Give me a drink.
That's kind of how I feel about Starscream, though. To be honest, like there's this kind of like deep-seated little like.
I just wanted was for you to put my drawing on the fridge. Is that so hard to ask? It's so big.
Yeah, you know. Tried to kill you 107 times this day, but you know it's really
I just want
because
a dead
I want to be
Chad, good or bad. I don't care.
Go away.
Actually, I get that too, because if you watch shows like the original, or well, maybe not the original, because that he really was a betraying bastard. But in movies in shows like Prime, you wonder, like, is it like? Even one of the characters brings it up. He's like, Starscream is interesting. You don't know if it's his job he wants or his respect. Honestly, he seems to go back and forth. I don't even think he knows what he wants. He just wants Megatron somehow in his life respecting him in some way or another.
Going back to David Goyer, what's that quote about the Joker? You know, he's like a
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Right. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I got it.
I mean, Starscream, I'm no expert. Look, I'm no expert on Transformers. I grew up mostly, I mean, Frank, you were Master of the Universe. I was more G.I. Joe and Thundercats. G.I. Joe and Thundercats were my thing.
I was Transformers too.
I was Power Rangers and Thundercats. That was my clique back then.
Yeah, but from what I've seen of Transformers since then, I mean, Starscream is one of those characters that it's kind of like the Joker. It's like he wants power because it seems like the cool thing to have. He's like, Megatron's the leader. He's the cool guy. So if I take his job, that makes me cool, right? I mean, I'll figure it out after that. But then he lacks that final element to make him worthy of that position. You know?
I mean, luckily, Starscream is an immortal being, so he'll have eternities and eternities to figure that out. Because for those of you who don't know, Starscream has this weird thing where his spark, for some reason, can transcend space and time, and it's technically immortal. So even if Starscream dies, his spark goes on, as we've seen in other shows and comics. It continues to live on in space and time, and it every now and again it shows up and it inhabits someone else's body. It's the trippiest thing. He's like the immortal Transformer. It's amazing.
His spark will go on. Someone needs to do a Titanic mashup.
Someone once did tell me that Megatron, he loved me. I can't do the rest.
Oh my God.
I do want to say there is one last thing about Star Trek I want to cover, because this is happening, and I don't know what to expect from this, but whatever happens, I feel like it's going to be something to behold.
Is it worse than 5? Is it worse than 5?
Oh, it might be a good thing. I don't know yet. But like, here's the thing. After the 3 movies, I mean, I don't know if it was going to be a 4th one, but the franchise as a whole has sort of stopped, because they don't know what to do next. So the movies have been great critically, but not that great commercially. and so they've been figuring out what the next move is. In comes Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
He pitched. Apparently, he just pitched like a take on Star Trek movies. I don't know if it's only one movie or like a whole new lineup or what. But he went to the company. He pitched it, and they loved it. And now he is going. From what I understand, he's going to direct a Star Trek movie. Yeah.
So
Quentin Tarantino presents Star Trek.
If he's going to continue the Prime Universe in the timeline that. Whatever comes after
they haven't said.
Whatever's beyond that. Deal me in, man. I just want to go back to the universe that continues.
Well, even the J.J. Abrams movies were in continuity, just sort of in a separate universe.
Well, when you say Prime Universe, universe,
it's
you're
the Kelvin
talking
universe.
From Kirk to Patrick Stewart. You're talking about that universe. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, which Discovery is supposed to be in, but it's yet another prequel. So you're watching all the touch screens and thinking, well, what happened to those on the Constitution starships and stuff. I just kind of want to go home again, which is, I think, why the Orville rings, outside of just being a beautiful show, well thought out, with likable characters, etc., it feels like, because, quite frankly, it's the same people writing the music and doing the special effects, like I'm going back to that Prime universe that I loved and still love. And there are times when I'm watching the Orville where there'll be one of those cold opens, and I'm like, God, I want a captain's log. I know you can't do it, but please give me a captain's log.
With how media projects are today, for all you guys know, the Orville will end up being an alternate Star Trek universe that they visit. For all you know, that'll happen because it's sci-fi. Anything can happen.
I am crossing my fingers on that. If they can work, because heck, if Fox and Disney can do what they're doing.
It could happen.
Maybe there's some kind of...
Hey, Disney's buying everything. Don't be shocked if they buy Star Trek.
Spider-Man taught us anything.
That was an April Fool's joke a couple years ago, but you know what? With what they buy up nowadays, you never know. It might actually happen.
I feel like it's probably in their to-do list, sooner or later.
That's right! I bought Star Wars! I want the other star!
But we're missing the point here. I don't know if it's going to be in the main continuity, like a different... universe completely, or like the Kellogg's, the one with J.J. Abrams. But it's a Tarantino directed Star Trek. Let's make some jokes about this. I just want to see Samuel L. Jackson as a Vulcan, shouting, "Faces set to motherfucker."
Vulcan, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
And you know what though? Part of the fun of the Orville, again, I keep going back to it, is that the characters are a little bit flawed too. Yes, Starfleet is the best of the best of the best, but they make jokes. They fart sometimes, and crazy crap happens. Who says they can't curse once in a while?
Oh no, there is going to be
sideways. Not to mention. I think we're forgetting. If there's going to be a confrontation again, it'll be like Kirk faces Khan. Khan. There it
is. I just, you know what? If he loves Star Trek, I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited. If he's a fan and he wants to, Tarantino
has a career of writing his own stories and directing their own. It's his own universe. He's never done other people's materials except for Jackie Brown, which was, even then, like he turned that into his own thing. But he's only ever publicly expressed interest in making 2 franchise films. He wanted to make a Bond movie at one point, but which was Casino Royale.
Happened.
No, he came really close. He wrote a script for it. They came really close to negotiations, but he wanted to make it very R-rated, and the company wanted to make it more for everybody, so they went with the way they went, which is works for me because that movie is my favorite James Bond movie.
Right. Yeah, but Tarantino doesn't skimp on the R rating. He really exploits that.
And that's what I'm getting at. Part of the deal here was that he said, okay, I will do the Star Trek movie, but it has to be R-rated and under my terms. And it is going to be R-rated, and from the looks of it, it is going to be under his terms. So, they're giving him carte blanche. He can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah.
It's Tarantino. People will see this.
When you look at the Tarantino movies that we all love,
I agree.
We love them because he loves them. It's exactly what you just said earlier, Paul. The Spider-Man 3 conundrum. If you don't like what you're making, it's gonna come through. And it doesn't matter how many times it's rewritten, it's re-edited. Eventually, someone's going to ask somebody else if they bleed,
no
and
passion,
then
no
it just turns
project.
into a mess.
You know?
And yeah. And I think that's really what Marvel is getting right. Is they have one guy who oversees everything and loves what he does, and they get people that love what they do. So
and Jon
they do it
Favreau,
right,
who
it's
directs a lot of
formula.
Marvel movies, is a comic book fan. As you know, he's a lot
He
of them
directed
are.
2 of them, man. Like the first 2.
And he's on Orville too, right?
Maybe
Isn't
I'm not familiar with like the directors, but possibly I could see that. Yeah.
My point is, they've got comic book fans working on these movies, and I think that's why they come out so good a lot of the time.
Yeah, they also, they bring different creative guys to have different creative visions, so it's not just the same movie. I mean, to a degree it is, but at the same time they give something new. This is more horror, this is more comedy, this is more, et cetera, et cetera.
No, but I agree with you. If it's a fan of the show, it's going to come out. I mean, look at Guillermo del Toro. He was a humongous Hellboy fan, and look how well Hellboy came out, which is getting another reboot, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Tarantino sought this out. He wants to make this movie,
And apparently Patrick Stewart, did you guys see that thing where Patrick Stewart expressed interest that if Tarantino's taking the wheel, he's all for becoming Picard again? I'm like,
I am all for seeing a Picard under Tarantino.
I didn't know he was such a Tarantino fan. Apparently he is.
Make it so, motherfucker.
Well, it's like, hey, he's already got an awesome bald black guy in every one of his movies and projects. He wanted an awesome bald white guy to kind of be there. He wanted to make it a whole. He wanted 2 halves of the same whole to be there as one.
There's a theory that Tarantino wants to set this movie in the mirror universe, where like everybody was evil basically, which would be interesting. So basically, if it's with Patrick Stewart as the evil Patrick Stewart,
evil Picard, huh?
Directed by Tarantino, yeah, I would watch that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
So you're saying he wants to have the best of both worlds?
I definitely do. Make it so, or I'll kill you.
Well, I mean, the only reaction I keep seeing to Tarantino possibly taking the wheel and Picard and Stewart being on board with that, I only ever see one reaction, and that's a gift. That's a gift. Make it so. People just keep doing the make it so gifts right after that, because apparently everyone's on board too.
Who doesn't want this?
Well, the beauty is that Patrick Stewart is basically a vampire
or
something because he hasn't aged.
Yeah, he shares
in the
same
30 years, so he could basically play Picard as Picard in the first season, and no one will skip a beat.
Just much like Keanu Reeves, he somehow discovered some fountain of aging that prevents him from getting older, and good for him.
Brain just reboots every 50 years, so no one catches on.
And every now and again, death knocks on his front door, and he just says no.
Like I said, I'd be down for any of those. But it doesn't really matter. It's a pure Tarantino Star Trek movie. That's already something we've never seen, and however it turns out, it'll be worth it. Starantino?
I don't know. How do you make a pun out of that name? Starantino? I'm not sure. Planet. I'm trying to think of.
Prepare for all of the 70s music.
Quintrek! You know what? Quintrek. I like that. Quintrek.
Quintrek? All right. You heard it here first.
Hashtag that.
It's Quintrek on the planet Tarantino.
His name was King.
He made Spock black because he's played by Samuel L. Jackson.
I don't know if it's going to be Spock, but I do want Samuel Jackson to play an old cranky bulk.
I would not mind one bit if Samuel L. Jackson was Spock.
Doesn't have to be Spock, but just a Vulcan. That'd be so cool.
Come on, now you have to imagine every one of Spock's most classic lines with that Samuel L. Jackson delivery.
Live well and prosper, bitch.
I've had it with these motherfucking tribbles on this motherfucking ship.
I mean, if we're looking at all the actors that Tarantino works with, Samuel Jackson's a guarantee. Christoph Waltz is probably going to be in there somewhere.
Oh, God, yeah. How have we not discussed that? Christoph Waltz in a Star Trek-related thing, I'm all on board with that. Because here's the thing, I've never seen Christoph Waltz do something sci-fi related. He does lots of period stuff, he does lots of, war, action related things, but I don't think I've ever seen him do something sci-fi. Have you?
He's doing one now called Alita, which looks good, but that's the first thing he's done like that.
Well, I'd be more than happy to see Christoph do sci-fi. If not Star Wars, then Star Trek would be a definite second.
I feel like he would make a great Romulan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christoph.
Yeah, Captain, I'm so glad to hear you talk again. I'm going to destroy you now.
Would you care for some Romulan ale?
Yes.
Yeah. Care for some Romulan ale?
Only if we can have.
Yeah, there you go. Tim Roth Ferengi. Like
Tim Roth. Oh goodness.
Okay, we got Samuel Jackson Vulcan, Christoph Waltz Romulan. Tim Roth
Okay, wait. We got to figure something out for Uma Thurman. What's she gonna do? Uma Thurman's in a lot. Yeah,
you know what?
She's just Uma Thurman. She's badass enough that she actually plays the actress Uma Thurman, displaced by time.
I would make her the captain, unless Patrick Stewart's going to be the captain, and she could be an admiral or even the first.
I kind of figured she'd be an alien. You know what? Maybe Uma Thurman could be the Borg Queen. I could see that.
Oh my god! And Harvey Keitel could be the voice of the computer.
That
just curses at you all the time.
Yeah, I could see that.
No, Michael Madsen's probably going to play
no,
not a Klingon, but well, maybe.
Ooh, Michael J. Fox could play Geordi. Wait, did I say the right thing? Hold on, Mike. Oh, not Michael. I'm sorry. What did I meant Jamie Foxx. I meant Jamie Foxx.
Where's
Jamie
he going
Foxx
with this,
jeez? Geordi. I mixed up my Foxes, okay? I was thinking of Fox News, Michael J. Fox, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Jamie Foxx, Fox and the Hound, Foxy Boxing, Foxy Love, Foxy Cleopatra, Vivica A. Fox.
Vivica Fox?
I just mixed up my Foxes. Give me a break. I had a little Fox overload. I meant to say Jamie Foxx as Geordi.
Although I don't know they would use a character this obscure. Kurt Russell as Harry Mudd.
Kurt Russell as He-Man versus Bruce Campbell Skeletor.
Like one of his best lines is from recently in the last Tarantino movie. Horse shit.
Horse shit? Or wait, what?
He just shouts horse shit like randomly, like.
I guess he could.
But like over the top, just.
Who else is in the Quint verse that we could put in? I mean,
a lot of people.
I don't think.
Who else is like a prominent recurring one?
I don't think John Travolta counts.
Brad Pitt has always been like.
Pitt.
Two movies.
That's true. Brad Pitt's. Yeah, I guess Brad. God, who could Brad Pitt play in Star Trek? Brad. No, I'm serious. Brad Pitt likes to do a lot of goofy voiceover work for kids stuff, and just to be there. So I could see him voicing a snarky Tribble. Maybe Matt Damon could be a Tribble too.
Who would
Quentin?
Who would Quentin play?
Who
would he play himself?
Maybe he could be V'ger. I'm just kidding. That's a good point, actually. Who would he play?
He could be the descendant of like Harry Mudd, who kind of because he always kind of puts himself in these like wise
Kurt
but
Russell
silly
would be more badass,
side
but
parts.
Tarantino himself will be more slimy, so that would work. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Tarantino could be. Maybe he can make. Screw it. He can be on the Galaxy Quest show. Just put him in there. That new Galaxy Quest show that everybody's thinking might get made.
No, it is getting made. I just don't know if it's going to be any good. I mean, without Alan Rickman,
I don't think so. I mean, good lord, one of the best actors is dead.
I thought that was abandoned a long time ago.
What?
I'm pretty sure that was.
I saw something not that long ago, but I don't remember.
I heard rumors that it might be made, but I don't think they can. I mean, one of the reasons Galaxy Quest works so much is because all the actors were bizarrely perfect for their roles, and one of them's dead. One of them is I can buy she would come back. Sigourney Weaver does a lot of work. Tim Allen, I can't see him doing anything. Come on.
Well, he's not doing anything, so he might.
Well, what I mean is, I don't.
Didn't he have a?
Yeah.
Didn't he just have a show that went off the air? Though?
I don't even know what it is because the only Tim Allen show Home Improvement was the only other Tim Allen show I know.
Yeah, that's all I know him. That and Toy Story. That's all I ever seen Tim Allen in.
Well, I mean, no, he's done a lot of stuff. He just doesn't do. I don't think he does that.
Oh, and the Santa Claus movies. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Jungle, everyone's favorite Jungle to Jungle. He does a lot of Disney.
Last Man Standing. That's what it was called. Last Man Standing. Because I remember every time I saw the promo, I thought it was the Bruce Willis movie.
I know Galaxy Quest is one of those movies that the cast was so perfect that it's hard to imagine TV actors doing a better job.
Nobody could ever do Lazarus like Alan Rickman did. That's impossible. You just can't replace that. And
then again, surprises can happen. I mean, it's like the Lethal Weapon series. I was so against that. I thought no one is going to capture those characters better than Mel Gibson and what's his name, Danny Glover. But then surprising, it works. It works. The casting is different, but it works.
Well, I guess it could happen.
So maybe.
But I like the movie as is, and I don't want to see it turned into a show. There are some things that work because they work. It worked once. Don't try to capture it again. Don't Ghostbusters to it.
Here's the thing, Paul, and since we were talking about the Disney merger, this is something that's going to be a factor now. Disney now just got rid of a lot of competition, so everybody who's left, if they want to stay in the game.
So DreamWorks is dead? Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's not what I'm getting at. My point is, with the competition just being that much smaller and everybody's trying to survive, we're not likely to see a lot of original concepts or ideas being thrown around for the next, let's say, a while. Because it's they can't afford to have a miss. They can't. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Let's just reboot something or sequelize something that you.
Well. That's also a problem when you have a company that's turning into a monopoly,
Yeah, I mean, when you have healthy competition, it's more equal. Everybody's trying to push themselves to get the new thing, and also the sequels and all that. That's always going to be a part of it. But with the market as it is now, it's so in Disney's favor, where they're owning everything. They can afford to do whatever they want, but small companies, and everything's small in comparison to them now. They have to do whatever is safe, and safe means boring for us, sadly.
Well, sometimes. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that thinks every reboot is immediately bad. There have been some good ones.
Yeah, but it's still.
Personally, I think it's time for originality. I think it's time for a new crop of new good ideas to try to be given a chance. Because if not, then we're just gonna have all we're gonna have is recycles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That there is. It's time, but for the companies, it's a bad time. They're not gonna go for it.
Well. We need to change time then. We need to get a time machine.
Somebody needs to tell Ridley Scott, stop making shitty alien prequels and just start making something good again.
No, someone needs to tell Ridley Scott to just stop. Stop, Ridley Scott. Stop it. I didn't like Robin Hood, Ridley Scott. You can't touch him anymore.
Oh, no, see, there's another Robin Hood reboot, whatever the fuck at this point.
Don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it.
It's happening.
The only Robin Hood I know is the Disney Fox version. So there.
Yeah, that's the only one.
That's my Robin Hood. That's the one I grew up with. That's my Robin Hood. Is Disney Fox Robin Hood.
Ridley Scott hasn't made a good movie since The Martian was an exception. I don't give him as much credit for that as.
Yeah. But that one had a lot less Scott in it. It was more Ridley and less Scott.
And there are some, obviously, now and then. Like, I'm super excited for this Guillermo del Toro one coming out next week.
Oh, Lady in the Water? Sorry.
Shape of Water, yeah.
Shape of Water.
I guess, honestly, this one should have been called Lady in the Water, because I hear that's the content for most of it.
Yeah, well, because that's refreshing. I mean, well, people are like, should we reboot this or make the sixth Transformer movie? Guillermo del Toro's like, I want to make a movie about a monster and a lady doing it in water.
I want to make Beauty and the Beast. Instead, the Beast is an experiment played by Abe Sapien, and I want this chick to totally fall in love.
Let me rephrase that. I want to make Beauty and the Beast with an actual beast. Because it's always the Beast is always too I
want Liz to end up with Abe Sapien in a very major way.
Basically, yeah.
I want there to be tides a swirling.
And they bone in the water.
I want him to be part of her world.
We got some monster action in this one.
I'm very much looking forward to that movie because I love Guillermo's comic books monster movie. I loved his dramatic monster movie. I love his action monster movie, and this is going to be his romantic monster movie. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, basically. And, they're saying it's his best movie yet. I mean, maybe Pan's Labyrinth is better. I don't know, but...
nothing's going to beat Pan's for me.
Even if it's only the second best, that's masterpiece level, man.
We'll see.
So I'm excited for that. That's an original idea. That's cool. I want to see more of that. I don't need Transformers, whatever number we're up to.
Well, okay, I don't need Bay Transformers. I like other Transformers that are coming out.
I mean the movies. I mean, we're talking movies here.
Yes. We don't need any more Bay Transformers. We need any other Transformers. Because those are actually fun.
We might not need more Bay in general.
No, I think Bay can just go away. Go away, Bay.
I don't know. I've only ever liked one of his movies, and that was like his first or second movie. So it's like we talked about that. Remember?
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I want more intelligent filmmaking. I mean, it's okay to make blockbusters. I mean, but you can make a blockbuster that's cool, like that Edgar Wright movie that came out this year. That was so good.
Which one?
Baby Driver. Baby Driver. That's a good summer blockbuster movie that was smart and just elegant. That was an elegant movie.
I'll be honest, I actually thought you said Boss Baby. I thought you meant Boss Baby for a minute. I'm like, that wretched DreamWorks Alec Baldwin nightmare.
Hey, I like Alec Baldwin as much as the next guy, but no, not that movie.
I think he's funny, but God, DreamWorks, get it together. I don't need disgusting Alec Baldwin, baby. Talking to Liz Lemon.
Yeah, what happened, DreamWorks? You were on top of the game with Kung Fu Pandas and How to Train Your Dragons, and now you're making Boss Baby?
Gross.
Gross,
Anything with babies are gross.
Justice League underperformed. I mean, that's the world we're living in right now.
Well, all these reboots, remakes, reimaginings, adaptations, He-Man, Skeletor, Star Trek, Quentin Tarantino, all this stuff is making me all existential and crap. I'm going to go home and reflect on it now. But not before we sing our praises to our lovely guest, Frank Todaro. Thank you for being with us today.
It was a blast. Thanks a lot, guys.
And, of course, Lake 70, 70, 70, 11, diddle DD years.
Always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see you next time when we think of other things to say.
Remember to like, subscribe, follow us here on YouTube or on SoundCloud, or we can listen to the podcast on iTunes now. So give us a listen.
And if there's something you want us to talk about, we might take it into consideration.
We will.
Maybe.
Just comment or leave us a message, and we will listen. We will listen. Yes.
If we feel like it.